Like, you know, I stream long, go to bed, wake up, go to bed again, take that day. I could actually feel my brain hurt, my body hurt. Like, I still got some sort of goddamn brain injury or some shit going on. You know what I'm saying? My head still fucking hurts when I move my head around too much. It was just like the mandatory hours thing. Like, if they didn't exist, I would have probably been on more than I was on, just at different points. But others probably couldn't say the same. And maybe I don't know either. Maybe I wouldn't have been, right? Maybe I would have been sucked into it. So maybe it's necessary, but I think the times were still too early. At least you woke up the next day true. But yeah, I'm still setting up that big tournament that I brought up, you know, months ago. Still talking to Rust, the devs, you know, getting that set up and seeing how we can make it as perfect as possible. Health is number one, my dude. Yeah, I know that. I mean, for what it's worth, I went to the doctor and I got tested and, you know, knock on wood again, everything was normal and shit. So, you know, it's not like I'm sitting here not knowing, you know, what's going on. So that's good. That 777 was unbelievable. I know, that was nuts. Bro, our team, I was talking to a lot of people about it, you know, especially the enemy team recently, like just setting up the tournament I'm talking about that I'm doing. I was talking to them, bro, like I didn't realize the lack of leadership that our team had, right? And like, that's not on XQC or Mendo. I think people misconstrue and misunderstand what like team leader is, right? Mendo and XQC were like team captains to pick the team for the event. Like, it wasn't this like serious organized thing where like they're the team captains and they're gonna organize the, you know what I'm saying? I think we needed to like pick two people. I didn't realize that this wasn't going on. Like, I could have probably like, you know, deduced it or whatever, like if I would have sat down and thought about it for a moment, because I could see, I mean, the reason I stuck around, because like I personally like building and shit and collecting mats. That's what I do in NoPixel servers. Like, I like to do it myself. I have the option of getting it all from the admin on second one, but I decline, right? For the skeleton of the base all the way up until metal, I farm it all myself, right? So I usually love doing these things and I would have loved to do that instead of been gambling the whole time. But there was just a major disconnect with our team. Like here's what it felt like to me, okay? And I was talking to, you know, H June and the others about this, and I think they understood what I meant, because, you know, there was like a thing that goes on Twitch and in content creation in general that a lot of creators either don't want to admit, aren't aware of, or, you know, they're just too insecure to talk about, right? And it's this almost like immaturity, insecurity, and loss in potential of greatness in each game category that stems from view count and clout, right? That's why, like, when I was giving that speech, right, I excluded XQC. I was like, yo, X, you know, don't listen to this part, right? Because when you get to a certain size, for some people at least, right, you don't really give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Now, this was the case for me all throughout, right? Whether I was small, large, or medium or whatever, right? Like, I didn't, you know, I mean, I spoke my mind, I said my shit, but that came from my IRL experience, right? The social world experience, the 1 foot in, 1 foot out experience that I had, right? So I should have known when I logged in, we were a 40 man, but we weren't. We were really just 20 teams of 2 that were on the same team on paper, right? And like, I even said it on stream. I said it's a bunch of fucking cliques that are playing, right? And my team consisted mostly of people I really like, my friends. So like, I didn't expect it of them, but that's just kind of like human nature, I guess, right? That's just how ball rolls in this world. But that's what it was. It was 20 teams of 2 players each that thought their shit didn't stink, right? And thought that they were right and everyone else was wrong. If it wasn't their way, it was the highway, right? And I didn't realize there was a lack of leadership. Like, at the end, if you saw the speech I gave, it literally like brought people together for the last 20 minutes of the entire game, regardless of not being able to come back. So if I would have known that earlier, I would have definitely, you know, unfortunately, I don't have the Rust experience to lead PvP, but I could have definitely been like a just team morale leader in that sense, where I kind of just chew out some of the people that need to get chewed out, right? Because as I was telling H June, right, it doesn't take a Rust pro to understand this. It does take you to be pro at something to understand it, right? And my experience just comes from soccer, right? I played on college level and Olympic level for my state. You can be great at Rust, but great players at Rust can carry 15 noobs and still win. Great players, not, right? Great can, great cannot. So you might be fucking fantastic at the fucking game. You're right. Your calls are good. But if you can't lead the 15 behind you and you just see them as dead weight and there's no respect, right? The respect has to stem from the leader. You understand? You can't expect, I don't like to call humans peons and shit. That's why I don't call you guys plebs. And when I do, I correct myself. But it's like, you can't expect the new players to step forward and start respecting everyone and build that team synergy. Like, you have to do it as the good player of Rust, right? And I think there's just a serious lack of that. I think our Rust players are too shy, right? Their personality is too shy. And it has nothing to do with introvert or extrovert, right? I come off as an extrovert, and I like to think I'm a hybrid of the two. But realistically, social interaction completely tires me. Like, it exhausts me. When I go outside and I just see people, it's loud, I get exhausted. I just want to go back inside, right? Like, that's just how I am. But I have the skills and social skills and outgoingness and confidence to create a conversation with anybody. I'm not scared to do so, even if they're complete strangers or even if they're famous people that are untouchable in our eyes. So maybe I'm a hybrid. But definitely, if I'm not a hybrid, I'm definitely, leaning more toward an introvert than I'm an extrovert, believe it or not. So it has nothing to do with that. It was just, I think it's just shy people that don't know how to, maybe don't have the experience. I don't know. So if I would have known, I think we would have done a little better. Because if you guys remember, this will kind of show you the false cockiness of the team. If you remember, there's a moment where I was fucking around saying that Team Toast was getting fed by the other team that they knew they were going to lose, right? And, I was making that joke, and I was making it off the basis that their team was a better team than ours, right? And instantly got shut down by everybody that, no, our team is the best team, they don't stand a chance, right? It's like seeing the end result and logging in and seeing what happened. You can't say that shit and then get absolutely demolished. If it was close and we lost by some bullshit, that's fine, right? You can say that, but you can't say that a day before and then get absolutely demolished, right? To the point where our own team that's made up of, I'd say, pretty brand-friendly people that you would expect to never quit in the public eye, literally be ready to quit and pull the Team Spain. I'm just saying, okay? Definitely Coco Nut B should have led. No, I don't think so. I think Coco B's a great player, and I actually pushed for him to be on the team, even though Mendo already invited him, but, Twitch had some issues where they cleared it up. I don't think so. I'm trying to think who would be. I think, the leaders need to be stronger personalities. And Coco might have a strong personality, so to speak, but I would say this is going to be a very, 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 shocking statement I'm going to make right now that'll probably upset a lot of people. But I think the personality set to lead, I feel like they're not any personality that can get hooked to the constant high life of weed isn't the personality that can lead, in my opinion. Strong personalities that lead through all bullshit, in my opinion, wouldn't like the constant feeling of being high. I can't explain it, but just trust me on this. For those that get it, you understand what I'm saying. You have to think of it as your brain and weed, right? If your brain sees weed as, okay, every once in a while, I will give in to the weed and let me have a good time. That's fine. The leaders that I know, and myself included, I see weed as a me versus it. So when I used to smoke it, right, I didn't just sit there and oh, fuck yeah. I was combating it. Do you understand? Because I needed to dictate do you understand? That's why I stuck to drugs when I was younger. Where I could I could still go take a math test based on what I studied the previous night and I'm good, right? It doesn't affect my brain in that way. If I were to smoke a shit ton of weed after I studied for a test sober and I were to go in my test, I'd flunk the test. I wouldn't remember a goddamn thing. You understand? Maybe some people could. Don't get me wrong, because I had a friend named Graham that used to smoke before every one of our games, and he played phenomenal, right? He played better high than he did sober. But like I said, he was a great player, but he needed to be led, right? Because I feel like, and this is a good thing. One of the traits of weed, in my opinion, you become more passive. That's why people say it's peaceful. Weed over alcohol, right? Doesn't ever cause a conflict. That's what I'm trying to say. If your mind goes toward that, you're probably more of a passive person, or at least you want to be more passive. You just want to chill and go with the flow. So someone might be talkative, and I know Coco recently quit weed and shit like that, and he talks against it, and that's great, right? But what I'm saying is Coco's a great player. I know he makes calls, but I think he needs a little bit more experience, right? Because I think he gets mad and goes into his own call. You can't do that, right? If people don't agree with you and they refuse to listen to you, you can't just leave and go into your own call with your friend, right? You need to stay there and be all right, let's do it your way. And let them fail 6 times in a row before they say, okay, you know what? Coco, we'll do it your way. That's what a leader is, right? Even if you get pushback, you go with them. So they earn your respect. and you fail with them until they give you the chance to lead. And when you lead and you're successful, that's how you over time get the credibility of just becoming a natural born leader, right? So it's like the team needed someone like that. Like, in my opinion, obviously Cam Soda goes into like a troll mode, right? I think he shuts down, goes into a troll mode. I don't know, because he's too good and he's gonna, people are gonna get upset. I don't know what it is, but I think he could be a good leader if he just turned it on and went really hard and went serious. I think he could be a good leader.